Okay, all right. So we shall begin this session. Again, different kind of questions. I have consciously added few logical and very systematic mathematical questions this time. Few of them. They are all of different typology. So this is the first one. What is given is there are two different squares. One is a smaller square and one is a bigger square. You're given the side of the smaller square, which is 5 centimeters. And it is said that the smaller square is placed in between inside the bigger square, such that all the 4 corners of the smaller square they touch each other. So there are in this case actually there are 2 possible scenarios. Excuse me. One is, okay, this scenario, sorry, I'll just draw this twice first. Yeah. So in this case, there are 2 possible scenarios. In one case, in one case, the smaller square might have been placed somewhere like this, somewhat. In another scenario, the smaller square might be placed somewhere like this. Yeah. So based on the information that is given, we can actually place both the squares in this manner. It's a possibility. Both are a possibility right now at this phase. What is another information that is given? That the side of the smaller square is 5. So I'll just write 5 here. If the next condition, if the smallest distance between the corners of the 2 squares is 3 centimeters. The smallest distance between the 2 squares is 3 centimeters. What is the area of the bigger square that falls out? So what is given is this is the smallest distance, which is 3 centimeters. And we have to find the area of the bigger square which gets formed. Just one second. No, Neil, that's a wrong answer. Okay. So how do we do this? It's simple Pythagoras. Anybody wants to come in and say, how do we solve this? Just take the first one. Just take the first scenario right now, where I've written what is the sides of the squares. Just take that scenario. Any suggestions? How do we do this? Okay, just one second. Yes, Vivan, that's a correct answer. So if you look at that corner, I just draw another square here. So if you look at this triangle in blue, which I'm drawing, it's a Pythagoras, it's a right angle triangle, and one can easily apply the Pythagoras theorem to find one side, which is in this case, say for example, I'm writing this xy, x and y. So if I want to find xy, it is pretty much easy. Based on the Pythagoras theorem, the hypotenuse is 5, one side is 3. So can anybody tell me what will be the other side? The other side here will be 4. So the total length of that square in this case will be how much? 7. The total length of the side of the bigger square. This is 4. This is 3. So the total length will be 7. Is that correct? Now, if the side is 7, the area would be what? area is 7 square. Yeah, 7 into 7, which is 49. Is this correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Now what happens in the other scenario? Sorry. Now what happens in this other scenario? In this other case where the smaller square is touching the midpoint of it. What happens there? So is there, I have a question. If the smallest distance between the corners of the two squares is 3 centimeters, what do you mean by this statement, and why is this other condition not possible? Can anybody wants to suggest how am I saying that this condition is not possible based on just the statement which is given? If the smallest distance between the corners of the two squares is 3 centimeters. If you are placing the vertices of the square at the middle point, what it means is both of these are equal. If both these sides or both these line segments are equal, you will have 3 centimeters between, equally divided between the two, between the larger squares. Now here it says that the smallest distance between it cannot be lower than 3. Of course, they both are equal, but something has to be, so what it means is something has to be bigger than that at the end of the day. And henceforth, one needs to negate this condition that the smaller square will be placed in such a way that it exactly divides the side of the bigger square into two parts. Because based on this one condition that the smallest distance is 3, which means the other distance has to be bigger than what is provided, just based on this condition. So I will be, so based on that purely thing, I will automatically say that no, that's not a possibility and we shall not consider this. In this case, again, it's simple geometry. We just divided it into a smaller one segment. We just wanted that XY distance. We know one distance of the side, and we just using Pythagoras, it was damn easy to do this. Okay, few of them have answered it. I don't know, how did you got 18? There might be some mistake probably, I don't know. But yeah, I hope you got this solution. Any doubts anybody has?
No.
All right, we'll move to the next one. So here you have to find the area of the black portion, colored. The colored black portion here we have to find. How do I do this? How do I find the area of the black colored portion?
Ma'am, if we like construct, if we take the two segments from the circle which is on the left hand side, and ma'am, we place it over there, then ma'am, the area of, ma'am, if somehow we find the radius of the circle RQS, then we can find.
Yes,
it to the
absolutely. So what I
We
don't
find
know
out the area of the cone and then we just minus the area of the CSA of the cone from the circle and then do it.
If we find the area of the cone, okay, you mean this sector, this weird sector, and then we minus the area of the
cone, CSA of the cone from the circle.
Okay.
Because if we see PQS, if we take the whole circle, and minus the area of that cone, then we could find that area, and the cone's area we already know, the black.
Okay, that's also possible, but how do you do this without finding the radius? Like, we don't have the radius here, if you know that. Radius nahi pata. What we know is just one of the dimension, which is this dimension. PR, in this case, only this dimension is known, PR, which is 21. Other condition that is given is all these sides are congruent. What it means is it's a rhombus at the end of the day. PQRS is a rhombus. Basically, that's what this is. Only this much is known to us. If I want to find the radius, where will the radius lie? So if I say x here, the radius is the radius is half of xr. I'll just make a diagram and I hope you get the hint from the diagram. Okay, chalo. Just make the small diagram. Just give me 1 minute. Where is my mouse? Pardon me with the geometry, with the bad drawing. Just 1 second, bear with me. Somewhere I'm just saying that the radius will be somewhere around this point. Or iska radius, it might be somewhere around this point. Just look at the red color triangle which I'm making. And from that red color triangle, can anybody tell me what kind of triangle is PQS?
Equilateral triangle.
Equilateral.
Yes, it's an equilateral triangle. What do we know about the properties of an equilateral triangle for a centroid and an orthocenter? In an equilateral triangle, what is the case with an orthocenter and a centroid? A centroid is intersection of medium and an orthocenter is intersection of altitude. Are they same or are they different in an equilateral triangle? Does anybody remember that?
It's the same.
Is the same. In an equilateral triangle, the centroid and the orthocenter are the same. What it means is, this is of course a 90 degree. And this point X, and I'm just writing this point Y. This point X, which is the center of the circle with PQS, it divides that, I'm just writing this is A. This line PA, I mean in the line PA, X divides it such that this is in the ratio of 2:1. Can I say that? Is it possible to say that? If the orthocenter and the centroid is the same, median mein kya hota hai? The medium is divided into 2:1 ratio. I mean, the centroid divides the median into 2:1 ratio. In an equilateral triangle, the centroid and the median are the same. The centroid and the orthocenter are the same. The orthocenter is the intersection of the altitude, or altitude kya hota hai? From the point we drop a perpendicular, and wherever it comes, if it is an obtuse angle, it comes outside the triangle for 1 point. If it's an equilateral triangle, it comes inside, and such that the base is perpendicular. I mean, such that the point, whatever segment comes down, is perpendicular. Is that correct? You remember this property? 2:1? Anybody? Yes, no? Or do you, I mean, okay, this is clear या नहीं clear है अभी भी किसी को? I can repeat myself again.
And can you please repeat the property?
I will do that. Yes, not a problem. So a centroid is intersection of median. Yes, right. Centroid is intersection of median. A median is what? It divides, in a median, the centroid divides the median segment in 2:1 ratio. So if AP is the median, the centroid, which is X, divides AP such that the longer part is 2, the shorter part is 1. Next property. An orthocenter is intersection of altitude. The altitude is what? From the opposite point, I mean, or from the vertex, you drop a perpendicular on the opposite line segment in a triangle. In this case, if I drop a perpendicular from P, it will come exactly at point A, which is also happens to be the median because it's an equilateral triangle. So an orthocenter is intersection of all the altitudes that happen. So P, AP, फिर Q से एक और median जाएगा passing through X और S से एक और जाएगा और उसका intersection भी X ही आएगा. Like what is a centroid? What happens in equilateral triangle is so in equilateral triangle, centroid and orthocenter are the same. You can look at this property, but both are the same. What it means is the orthocenter or the centroid, whichever, which is point X in this case, it will also be the center of the circle because it's an equilateral triangle circumscribed in a circle. Because it's an equilateral triangle inscribed in a circle, or the circle is circumscribed outside the triangle. The center also happens to be the centroid, which in this case is also the center of the circumscribed circle. In the equilateral triangle, in this equilateral triangle, the centroid is the orthocenter, and that's where the triangle PQ, in the triangle PQX, if X is the centroid, it divides that segment AP, which is also the median and which is also the altitude, into 2:1 ratio. Now, if I further compare, or if I look at the property of what happens when a circle is circumscribed within the equilateral, outside the equilateral triangle, what happens is the centroid or the orthocenter also happens to be the center of that circumscribed circle. This is another property. And henceforth, I can say that the center of the circle, which is X, which is also the orthocenter and which is also the centroid, in this case, it's X, and the orthocenter is also X, and center of circle is also X. Because PQS is an equilateral triangle, because of that property, what I can say is the point X divides that segment AP into 2:1 ratio. Now, just one second, I will just push this text back here. Okay. Now, if you look at the other circle, which is formed using the points Q, S, and R. we have the same thing which happens. We have the same thing. What it means is y also divides the segment AR into 2:1 ratio. This is 2:1 ratio, okay? So if I say x is the multiple, this becomes x. This also becomes x. This becomes 2x. And this becomes 2x. So what it means is PR is equal to x plus, 2x plus, first is 2x, which is px, plus x, which is xa, plus ay, which is also x, and plus yr, which is 2x. Now, PR ka value you know 21. 21 will be equal to 2 plus 2, 4, 5, 6, 6x. So x will be equal to 7/2. Now x is equal to 7/2, which means 2x, px, which is the radius of the circle. Px is the radius of the circle of either of the circle, PQS wala, PQSR wala. Both the circles are of the same radius, which is seen. So px will be equal to 7. Px is also equal to r. Px, which is equal to, just 1 second, I'll just remove this. So px, which is equal to r, which is radius of circle, will also be equal, which will be equal to 7/2 multiplied by 2, because it's 2x, which will be equal to 7. Thus, area will be equal to 22/7 multiplied by pi r square. 22/7 multiplied by 7 multiplied by 7, which will be equal to 22 into 7 is what? So
154
6.
centimeter square.
Sorry,
154 unit square.
154 centimeter square. अभी ये क्लियर है या डाउट है? Questions है कुछ? And somebody has written. अच्छा, okay. Anybody has any doubt in this yet? And this fifth area of that circle also happens to be the area of the black portion, because this cone which is there, QRS, उससे आप ये जो chord से PQ का जो chord है, this half, I mean that chord with, or this, or that segment which is there, the PQ wala segment which is there, you replace it at QR wala segment is the same area. PS वाला segment जो है वो आप यहाँ पे RS वाला segment पे replace करो, it will form the whole circle. And thus forth, the area of the circle is also equal to the area of the black part in this case, which is 154 centimeters square, which is what we have to supposed to find. Any doubts anybody has in this? Any questions, any doubts here?
No.
Okay. It's clear? Yeah, confusion hai abhi bhi.
I'm clear.
Okay, thank you. Move ahead then. Another kind of very simple one. Again, cracking the geometry is very crucial here. You're given this kind of figure where a circle is inscribed in a square. Where a circle is inscribed in a square and another semicircle is also inscribed in the same square. What fraction of the blue colored part is in ratio, or it's what fraction of the area of the square is basically the blue shaded area? That's what we have to find. Any suggestions? How do we do this?
We just have to cut the pieces and lay it. I don't know how to explain it, but I know how to do it.
Okay. Okay, I'll explain, don't worry. Yes, that's of course a correct method. So if I draw this diagonal hypothetically, I'm just drawing another diagonal here. What it means is when I draw this diagonal, things become much clearer. What it means is ye jo yahan pe, this segment that you are seeing here, this segment that you are seeing here, this one can come in this part. Easily it can be fitted in this part. This segment, which is the curved wala weird piece, can fit in this part. This part here. Another piece which is remaining, which is this, it's not visible. Another piece which is remaining, which is this, can be fitted into this part. And henceforth, what I am getting is everything that every part which I have, I can fit into this 1/4 quarter, 1/4 or quarter part of the circle, which is 1/4 of, 1/4 of the whole circle. So I just had to draw that diagonal and then everything became quite crystal clear for me, just by that much part. Any doubts? Clear hai? Why? How did I say 1/4 or 0.25? It's a fraction, so it can be, you can either write 1/4 or you can either write 0.25, either of them. Any question anybody has here? Any doubts? Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The next part here. So what you're given here is you're given some 2 rows are given and you are shown partial letters in row 1. Now row 1, the arrangement is correct. Row 1 has correct arrangement and row 2 has jumbled up arrangement. The parts which are missing in the letters that are happening, that are seen in row 1, are placed in row 2. Row 2, we know that the letters or the partial parts of the letters that are there in row 2 are random. What we have to find is the correct sequence of how they match, how these parts match in row 1. So for the first letter, which part will come here? Which number will come here in the first letter? Second mein kaun sa aayega, third mein kaun sa aayega? Likewise, we have to find that sequence. And the answer will be a number, some kind of a number. The answer will be there. Now, this is constant. The first one is constant. The first row is constant. So it's a simple trick. I mean, you just have to go one by one by one. So the first letter in row 1, this one. The first letter, it Can we tell me what will fit in which part or which number will fit in the first one? Sorry, somebody said something.
Maybe 5.
Maybe 5. So if I go by 1, it's not possible. We are looking for the upper part. In the first case, we are looking for the upper part. So if I look at the upper part, it can be 3, but 3 doesn't make much sense. 3 wala jo part hai, I feel that it might fit in mostly in this part. 3 wala jo part hai, I feel it might be fitting in this part. Somewhere, that's what my first assumption would be. So either it could be 3, be possible hai. 6 possible nahi hai because it doesn't make sense to have that thing. 7 भी possible नहीं है and 5 possible है. 3 और 5 में से दोनों में से कोई एक possible है. So I'll say 3 or 5. So it can come like this where it forms a J, or it can come like this where it forms a C. Now we just leave it for that for now. The second part, it looks like a small U. Can anybody tell me which one can come here? 7.
Or 3.
7 or 3. So I'll say, okay, 3 or 7. So I'll just write here J or C, and I'll write here again J और 7 आता है तो U बनेगा. Okay. The next part, the third one. Second one, clearly number 2.
2.
Very clearly number 2. The next one.
4.
Number 4, the diagonal. So इससे क्या बनेगा? इससे n बनता है, इससे भी n बनता है. So this was 4. So 4 is also taken, 2 is taken. Number 6. Sorry, this one. This letter. And this is different.
T is possible over there.
Sorry, P.
3.
3. So I would say that I'll take 3 here because 3 is not fitting. 3 is fitting here, but यहाँ पे there is no other possibility that I can, add another letter. And that's why I will negate that possibility of adding 3 in the first 2. I'll remove that J part which was happening. So I'll say I. The next one, clearly number 6. और last में, the last one, 1, G. It's a G. So the word is cunning, CUNNING, and the sequence is 5, 7, 2, 4, 3, 6, 1. In this case, that is the correct answer. 5, 7, 2, 4, 3, 6, 1. So in such kind of question, many a time students do the mistake of writing cunning instead of writing that sequence of 5, 7, 2, 4, 6, 1. That has happened. So just be careful that you don't write the word which is there, which is cunning. You don't have to write the word which is cunning, but you have to write the sequence. Here the sequence is asked, the correct sequence in row 2, the sequence is asked. That's why we'll write 5, 7, 2, 4, 3, 6, 1 and not the word. If the word is asked, you write the word. So just be careful what exactly is it asked, okay? All right. We'll move to the next one then. So, sorry. So here the GIF was shown like this, and you are supposed to find the unique shapes, the unique faces. Sorry, you are supposed to find the unique faces which happen in the GIF. You can write your answers in the chat box. This is fairly simple, based on observation. No, Kavya, wrong answer. Ananya, wrong answer. Paul, you're supposed to count the faces that happens, not the expression. You have to count the faces, the number of faces that happen. Vivan, wrong answer. Harini, wrong answer. Please note, in this case, there are graphics also which are happening. You don't have to count the graphics. You just have to count the unique faces. Faces. Face सिर्फ count करना है, graphic pattern कुछ count नहीं करना है. Vivan, Harini, Pant, wrong answer. I think you're counting the graphics also. Yes, Ananya, right answer. Vivan, wrong answer. Kritika, wrong answer. You're counting the graphics. You just have to count the faces. Human faces. You just have to count the faces. Krish, right answer. Okay, in this case, the correct answer is 7 faces. Many people have written 8, 11, 12 also. People with higher number, such as what you have answered, like 12 or 11, you might be counting the patterns which are happening. In this case, there are also patterns which happen. You don't have to count the patterns, you just have to count the faces. Look at the question, how many unique faces appear in the morphing animation? The total number of faces which happen is 7. So this is first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. Total number is 7. You have to be very careful at the end because 2 or 3 faces, they are coming together towards the end. I mean, I cannot help it out. There's no trick. You just have to keep on counting it. And then as the GIF repeats itself, you have to cross-check your answer. At least do that twice or thrice in this case. Okay, we'll move to the next one now. This is 7 is the correct answer here. So here, again, an observation-based question. Here you are given this pattern or a figure, and you have to guess which of the options or option. It can be 2 or 1 or more answer can be correct here. Which of the option or options are rotations of the figure? You can write your answer in the chat box. Kavya, wrong answer. Observe very carefully. Observe the curves. Observe if one part is mirror or not. That is the key for finding the answer. Harini, Ananya, right answers. Partially right answer, Kaivalya. Partially right. Kritika, wrong answer. Navya, correct answer. Parv, wrong answer. Pal, right answer. Neel, wrong answer. Partially right, but Kaivalya, in both the answers are, both of your answers are correct now. Okay, in this case, the correct answer is A and D. How? If I look at the option B, which is there, I will, based on this part, I will say it is correct. It is wrong. Because if I rotate this, if I rotate this figure on this side, this head will be facing on this side. In B, the head is looking the opposite side, and that's why I will say B galat hai. If I look at option C, based on the curve, based on this curve, the form or the shape of this curve itself, I will say it is wrong, because ये इससे कुछ match नहीं हो रहा है. इसका curve कुछ अलग है और इसका termination थोड़ा different है. So I will say based on that, C is also wrong. And option A or D, if you look at it, they match very correctly. So isko, if I rotate on this side and it comes to this, iska position barabar aa raha hai, iska bhi position barabar aa raha hai. All the curves are fitting in well. With A also, if I rotate it on this side, there is actually no error, and that's why A and D are the correct ones in this case. In the exam, yes, you will be given where one or more options are possible, but that does not mean that in that questions, in those questions, in all the cases, you will have one or more answers. There are, I'll bring that case also here, where there is only one answer possible, and it was a part of MSQs, which is multiple answer keys. Okay. Any doubts? Any queries here? All right, we'll move to the next one then. You are given 3 squiggles. Today, these are 3 squiggles, and they are traced on a transparent or a semi-transparent piece of paper. Sorry, a transparent sheet of paper, and they are piled up. Some of these sheets, they can be rotated. They are not mirrored. Additionally, in some options, there in the options A, B, C, D, which are given, there are some squiggles which are different than the ones which are shown here above, the purple, the red, and the green. You have to find which squiggle look different. In this case, you have to very carefully observe the curves. You have to very carefully observe the proportions of the thicknesses that are there, like this thickness, or the way the shape happens, or the way the dimensions happens from top to bottom, how many curves happens in all the cases. So you go case by case here. Option A. Option A may you look at, you compare the proportions of all the 3, then move to option B, then move to option C. That's the only way here. I'll give you some time, you write your answers in the chat box. Harini, wrong answer. Navya, right answer. Pant, correct answer. Ananya, wrong answer. Krish, wrong answer. Pearl, right answer. So in this case, the correct answer is A and C, the cases where the squiggles are different. I'll just draw the squiggle which is different in A. The squiggle which is different in A is the green colored one. I'll just draw that how it is happening. In this case, the proportion of that curve is different. It's not that thin. In the green squiggle, it is very thin. And also in the C case, the squiggle which is different is the purple colored one. This one. This is how, I'll just draw that. This is how it is happening. They both look drastically different. There are a lot of twists and turns in the purple colored squiggle in option C as compared to what is seen in option C. And that's why I say option A and option C are the ones with different squiggles. And B or D may, there is nothing different. I mean, everything is fitted in well. There's no problem. Any doubts, any queries anybody has? Okay. We'll move to the next one now. Here you are given, this is an MSQ. This is multiple choice, multiple answers are possible in this case. You're given a paragraph. This is a comprehension base. You're given a paragraph which is derived, which is taken from Kumarappa's Economy of Permanence. And just read the paragraph carefully. What you have to find is which of the option or the options are implied by the quote which is given here. Just take 5 minutes, try to read the paragraph and then try to check out which of the options are implied by the paragraph. You can write your answers in the chat box, okay? Navya, Ananya, wrong answers. I mean, partially right answer. I would put it that way. Both of yours are partially right answers. I mean, what I mean is certain thing is missing. Harini, partially right answer. When I say partially right answer, I mean that what I mean is the option that you have said, they are correct, but besides that, there are certain options that are missing. Pearl, Navya, Ananya, partially right answers. Kritika, partially right answer. Pant, partially right answer. In this case, those who have said, I just say that all the options are correct. A, B, C, D in this case. So if I'll just read the quote, man comes nearest to his God, the creator, when he utilizes his brain power to marshal mechanical forces to serve his purpose. To do so in a way that will bring blessings and not destruction, he has to follow, which means he has to, in order to do that, achieve that purpose, he has to closely follow the nature's way to get the best way out of it. We cannot get the cooperation of nature purely on our own terms. Any attempt to do so will bring violent destruction in its wake. First option, utilizing brain power to marshal mechanical forces to serve a purpose, if not done properly, can lead to destruction. Logically, it implies that. The first statement and the last statement, it implies that logically. Utilizing brain power to marshal mechanical forces to serve our purpose can bring mankind nearest to the God. Naturally, it's given in the first part. While utilizing brain power to marshal mechanical forces to serve our purpose, the best way to proceed is the nature's way. The first and the second statement, they imply this option C. The last one, dealing with nature purely on our own terms will bring violent destruction. The last statement, the last two statements, we cannot get away, we cannot get the cooperation of nature purely on our own terms. And the last one, any attempt to do so will bring violent destruction. That implies option D. In this case, therefore, A, B, C, D, all are correct. Trust me, this is a possible, this is also one of the possibility which can happen in multiple, where multiple answers are possible on those questions. So in this case, you have to write A, B, C, D, all the answers. Okay. All right. Any doubts, any questions anybody has here? Okay, we'll move to the next one then. You're given this image poster, which is made by CDC, which is in context of COVID-19. What you have to say is which of the statements or which of the following statement or statements, singular plural, which means one or more answers are possible, are true, is true or are true. You can write your answers in the chat box. Kaivalya, correct answer. Harini, wrong answer. Pal, correct answer. Kavya, wrong answer. Neil, partially correct answer. Navya, right answer. Ananya, right answer. Panth, wrong answer. Harini, wrong answer. In this case, I'll just go step by step, one option at a time. First one, it effectively communicates physical distancing. Now, if I look at this graphic of two men, which is given here, yes, it effectively communicates physical distancing. So I'll tick on A. It's a correct one. The next one, it is gender neutral. It is gender neutral. It promotes mask usage. What it means is, yes, effectively it is gender neutral because it shows men, it also shows women, which means that it's going to affect both of them. And it also promotes mask usage, which is shown in case of this women, which is seen. So I will say, okay, something. So I'll say option B is also possible. Option C, it is faith neutral and age inclusive. There is no sort of any clarity on the age part here, or even there is no written aspect, or there is no communication about the faith also. So I will say option C ka kuch, I mean, there's nothing given about option C. They'll say not possible. The option D, if it effectively communicates all COVID-19 related safety measures. Now, it actually, since we know about the safety measures of COVID-19, we can say that no, it does not communicate all effective steps that one needs to take care of, because hand washing hai, using sanitizer hai, it's not given here. So I will say कि okay, option D भी नहीं हो सकता है. So option D maybe I will say not possible. And thus only A and B are possible in this case. Yeah? Any doubts, any queries, any questions you have? Okay. We'll take another one. Very simple one. Pressure cookers are sometimes made using copper and stainless steel. In such a pressure cooker, here one answer is possible. One answer is possible. Okay. Sorry, one or more options are possible. We are given 4 options. The bottom is made up of stainless steel and the rest is made up of copper because it's aesthetically pleasing. The bottom is made up of stainless steel and the rest is made up of copper because copper is a germicide. The bottom is made up of copper because it is better conductor of heat compared to steel and hence it is more energy efficient. Or the bottom is made up of copper because that is the only way such cooker can be heated using an induction stove. Okay. Kavya, correct answer. Pal, wrong answer. Harini, correct answer. Neil, correct answer. Navya, correct answer. Ananya, correct answer. Pal, correct answer. So in this case, the correct answer is option C. The copper is in a pressure cooker. There are some pressure cooker which has a copper base because it's a good conductor of heat. And henceforth it makes it more energy efficient compared to stainless steel. So although it's an MSQ, it's more, one or more options are possible in this case. There is only one correct answer, which is option C. Okay, one may get confused because it comes in a section where one or more answers are possible and this only has one answer. So you have to be careful and you have to think logically. Okay. We'll move to the next one now. Let me just take this the next time, not right now. Yeah, let's just do this. We have done this kind of question earlier on in the word wala puzzle. Here you are actually given a sort of a adventure book kind of a thing, a treasure map kind of a thing, and you have to identify the correct sequence of how this puzzle will fit in together to form an map. First question, what will be the first and the last one in this case? What will be the first and the last, what will be the edges rather of the map? Which part will be the edges of the map? Which one will be the first one?
7.
Sorry?
7.
7, yes. So 7 will come first. Or last kya hoga?
3rd.
Number 3. 7 or 3 will be the first and the last. So I will just take that off. Ki wo khatam. 7 and 3 are taken care of. We know the position of 7 and 3. 7th will be the first and 3 will be the last one. All other pieces will be formed, will come in between. Now I'll just go step by step, one by one. 1 second. In this case, 7 ka you have to look at the position. 7 may we can see the ends. At the ends we see a lake which is coming here, and we see 2 dotted lines, and we see some kind of a mountains which are there, right? Based on this information that okay, mountains hone chahiye, and then there has to be 2 dotted lines ka joining, and then there has to be a lake ka joining. We can narrow it down to 2 possibilities. Either it can be 4 or it can be 2. 4 और 2 में से कौन सा आ सकता है after 7?
4.
4, because 4 has these 2 dotted lines which are coming here. It has this lake also which is there, and it has mountains also which are seen. So 7 के बाद, that's why effectively I will say 4 will come. Second नहीं possible है क्योंकि second में सिर्फ एक ही dotted line नीचे आ रहा है. इसमें middle में है वो dotted line which fits in well with 4. Next one. 4 के end में the dotted line is coming here. There are mountains and there are lakes which are coming. So क्या आएगा? Mountains, lake, and then just one dotted line ka input. Where will it fit?
Ma'am,
Sorry?
second is possible.
Second is possible because second में there is just one dotted line which comes at the bottom. 4 में भी वो dotted line bottom में आ रहा है, which is fitting. The position is correct दोनों का. There are mountains which are there. And यहाँ पे भी mountains है, so ये दोनों बाजू बाजू में बैठ सकता है. There are no incomplete mountains which are seen in 4, which is what it means is that this curve line can come here and then another set of mountains can start happening. So this is a possibility. So I will say 4 के बाद number 2 आएगा. When the number towards the end of number 2 के बाजू में there is a lake at the bottom. There is just one dotted line and there are forest. There's some kind of forest which is happening on top, or mountain भी है कहीं पे, but I don't know if the mountain will be there in the next part or not. Because why am I saying I don't know अगर बाजू में आएगा या नहीं आएगा? Because I don't see any other options where mountains are seen, and that's why I may put down that possibility कि अभी next वाले में mountain नहीं होंगे. But I am looking for forest because ये जो देख रहे हो ये वाला part, here you can see that one tree is half. ये tree का आधा part दिख रहा है. What it means कि इसके बाजू वाले piece में वो tree दिखेगा. Can anybody tell me कि which part will come?
1.
Number 1, क्योंकि number 1 में ही ऊपर के side tree है और ये partially tree आधा कट रहा है यहाँ पे. So that's why 2 के बाद number 1 आएगा. So number 1 is taken. Sorry, I'll just mark all this. Number 2 is taken. 4 is taken. 2 is, yeah, 7. Number 4 is also taken. Now after number 1, the river ends here. One dotted line entry, and maybe there is a forest seen on top, or there is some kind of forest happening at the bottom. We can see that something is happening at the bottom. And then one dotted line here. 5, 6, 9, 8. दोनों में से क्या आएगा? Where do we see forest at the bottom?
9.
Number 9. Number 9. Number 9 is the only place कि जहाँ पे forest नीचे आ रहा है. Dotted line का position, which is this, is matching. It's in the middle. It's matching with 1. और वो जो stream का position है, even that is matching here. So I will say number 9. 9 के बाद क्या आएगा? There is after 9 I see a reservoir getting formed, or some kind of larger water pond but getting formed here. Around the water pond I see a pathway which is there. So 1 point, 2 point, and then a third point also at the bottom. Okay, where can I find 3 such points coming together with a reservoir? Number 8. Correct. Very good. In number 8, I see 1 dotted line, 2 dotted line ka entry, and a third dotted line at the bottom, which matches very correctly with 9. And then there is a reservoir which happens in between. So I will say 9 ke baad 8 aana chahiye. After, so 9 and 8 are also taken. After 9 and 8, 5 or 6. So 9, in number 8, there is one clue which we missed out, is the village which is seen here. Partial village dikh raha hai yahan pe. So kaun sa aayega after that? 5 or 6?
6.
Number 6. 8 ke baad number 6 aayega. And then naturally 5 will come, and then after 5, number 3 will come. So the correct sequence is 7, 4, 2, 1, 9, 8, 6, 5, 3. Please remember, you have to go systematically like this. In these kind of puzzles, find the first and the last piece, or first piece se construct karte karte karte, you move to the last piece. That is the easiest one, and that is the quickest way to find to solve this kind of puzzle. Otherwise, nahi ho payega aapse pura khatam time pe. Or another thing that a lot of people can do is you start clubbing the numbers together. So like I know ki 1 or 2 may I see a forest on the top side. Then there is a forest in the middle, at the bottom in 1 and 9. And there is a village kind of things which is partially seen in 8 and 6. So what or 2 or 3 में वो mountains बीच में आ रहा है, या 5, 6 and 5, 6, 8, 9 में वो reservoir दिख रहा है. So you start clubbing these different things together and then try to construct and make sense out of it. So even that is a possibility. So if you look at those clumps, they do come together here very easily. So you can either cluster things out and then solve it, or systematically you start from first, second, likewise you start constructing. Anything is possible in this. Okay. Okay. We'll end this session here. You have any sorry, anybody has any doubt here?
No.
Okay, we will end this session here then.